This episode of the One Piece podcast is brought to you by Shonen Jump. Sign up today to be a Shonen Jump member and follow along with us. For less than $2 a month, you could read every chapter of One Piece, plus you get access to the Shonen Jump Digital Vault. So that includes nearly every Shonen Jump series published in English. Series like My Hero Academia, One Punch Man, Dr. Stone, Dragon Ball Super, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Death Note, and much more. Start your free trial today by going to a special page just for One Piece podcast listeners, and that's at viz.com/One Piece podcast. Again, viz.com/One Piece podcast. Enjoy the show. This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 604 for the week of Sunday, January 19th, 2020. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
And on today's show, we have a special guest. She is our editor-in-chief, Kelly. How's it going, Kelly?
Pretty good. Finally not jet-lagged.
You have been going back and forth to Japan a lot.
I have.
This year, even, in 2020.
4 times. Four
Well,
times last year, but it carried over into this year. So
okay, I guess that counts. We also have from our Patreon joining us for the first time, doing his first ever podcast. We have Ray with us, Usopp the Great on Twitter. How's it going?
I'm going great. This is great.
Great. Good to hear. Good to hear. And our very special guest this week from Anime News Network. She is the managing editor. We have Crystalyn Hodgkins with us. How's it going?
It's good. It is a beautiful morning here.
Good. So on today's episode, we are going to be going through another really huge chapter of One Piece, chapter 968, which is entitled Oden's Return. We also have an anime recap from Sam. We're going to get into that a little later, plus some Piece Together. Before we get started, though, you may first have noticed we have a new sponsor this week and for a little bit going into the future, and that is Shonen Jump and Viz, who, even before they sponsored us, we have been very ardent to sticking to that official release. But you could go right now and read the official release when it comes out at midnight now. That's the big news. It comes out at midnight in Japan, meaning it comes out at 7 a.m. in California and 10 a.m. on Sundays on the East Coast. And I don't know all my time zones by heart, but something like that. The latest chapter comes out for free at Viz at shonenjump.viz.com, or you could go to viz.com/One Piece podcast to check that out, or at mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. I could do this. So yeah, we found out, I think, that Manga Plus was coming out at midnight, maybe last week, Japanese time. But it just got announced, I think, a couple days ago, that's happening in Shonen Jump too. So exciting. Yeah. Also, as part of apparently they've been doing it for 1 year. They also released a video of Oda drawing Luffy, to celebrate the first anniversary of this real Shonen Jump, which was really cool. You guys had a chance to check that out?
Mm-hmm. I saw it on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, it was neat. It popped up on the app as well when I opened it.
Always impressive to watch someone so boldly draw with just a Sharpie.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like he's been doing it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad as an artist you feel the same way, because I was watching and I'm like, that is stressing me out.
I always wonder if they just kind of visualize it and they just fill in the marks where they see the lines. They just kind of, I mean, Steve, you would probably know that being an illustrator, and Matt,
Oh no, I wouldn't
draw.
I would, it's a lot of hitting the undo shortcut on my keyboard.
Or do you use pencil, like when you're at a convention or something, drawing something?
Yeah.
Because
I play it safe.
Also, I want to talk about Stampede. That's coming out in the UK and South Korea, right, Kelly?
Yep, we've got UK and Ireland, February 2nd of this year, and it looks like just the month of February is listed for South Korea right now.
Cool. All right. And also, before we get into the show, we've been doing this a little. Crystalyn, we should probably give you a better introduction here, too, since it's your first time on the show.
Sure.
We met each other back in like 2010, right? And at Katsucon?
Yeah, I think it was Katsucon.
And you were an intern for ANN then.
Yes.
Now you're managing editor. So do you want to tell us, I guess, first about you're living in Japan now. You want to tell us a little bit about your whole journey, getting there, getting into One Piece, getting big at ANN?
Sure. The One Piece started first, so I'll start with that. I got into One Piece probably... It was in my second or third year of college, so that would be around 2002, 2003. And that was like peak Napster era, and I went to a big state school, so basically anybody who lived in the dorms had shared everything with everybody else through the college intranet. So anything you kind of wanted, manga, anime-wise, was there for someone who was just getting into it. So that was able to really do a deep dive into One Piece, and when I got into it, and it's been just my favorite franchise ever since, for sure. And I started working as an intern at ANN in late 2009, and about a year after my internship ended, I was hired back as an associate editor. So I started actually working for them full time in May 2011 and worked my way up to managing editor. I moved to Japan in February 2014. I actually moved here to do what most people do here, teach English. But then about a year after moving here, I was able to switch back to my job at ANN. And now I get to actually work here. My visa says I'm a journalist, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. And we got to see you at our little, I don't know if it was a meetup, but we saw you at the Mugiwara store in Osaka. And that was really cool as well.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it's always really cool meeting someone in one country that you knew from another country.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've met a lot of friends here that way, just where I knew online or just knew or met a couple times in the US, and then all of them eventually make their way here for a trip, and I'll show them around, and it's cool how many people you meet in Japan.
Yeah, and I love Osaka, and I never stay there long enough, and one of these days, yeah. Although you're nearby it, I think, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
You guys ready to talk about some One Piece?
Yes.
Ready.
This is the manga recap for chapter 968, Oden's Return. You can read this chapter and all chapters as soon as they come out from shonenjump.viz.com or mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. Ed, what's going on this cover page?
Well, it's Gang Bitches, Oh My Family, Volume 17. Save the boss's wife, Gotti. And looks like there is possibly a Marine of some kind.
Yeah, I think these are the Marines that entered not the barber shop, the salon.
Right. Yeah, so they're running off with Chiffon, and Gotti is chasing them in his frilly lace cravat and sparkly boots.
Oh my god, those are sparkly boots. Good eye.
Yeah.
Alligator shoes.
Oh, yeah. Maybe too. Maybe that.
Yeah. But yeah, and
banana gator shoes.
One of the
strong start there,
all
Steve.
bloody on the ground there, but that's about it.
Who's the one kissing the person by his shoe?
That's part of the kissy pirate thing, right? I assume.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
They
were what, like a couple months ago.
Yep.
It's kind of, it's the it's like the kiss water mist, Zach. Very akin to the Blackwater Mist
from the
from
Garlic Jr. saga.
Garlic Jr. saga.
That I hate.
Mhm.
All right.
Is that all
Just
you got
wanted-
there, Steve?
just-
Okay. Anything else on that cover page that you guys wanted to talk about?
Are we still sure this is chiffon?
It's hard to
we
see
think
from.
so. I think so.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Oh yeah.
Hard to tell.
I assume.
Yeah, this doesn't make it any clearer, but
Yeah, that
Anyway.
olive oil help line isn't really helping either.
Yeah, this is like this is the most stereotypical damsel in distress. This is literally.
it's help in the Japanese version too. It's not like Tuscate or anything. It's just says help in English.
I was gonna ask that. I'm glad. See, we got Crystalyn here to help us through the Japanese version. Okay, so let's get into the waterworks here. Ed, no one is crying for this entire chapter. Let's make clear. What's happening here?
Okay. Well, Odin continues to write in his journal. It says, when Roger returned from Laughtail, Red Taro came to him and asked him something, only to shed tears afterward. And it's a pretty detailed drawing of Shanks with his straw hat covering his eyes, weeping into Roger's jacket. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he continues, the birth of the king of the pirates caused a stir around the world, and not sure what country that is with the onion top thing there.
Agrabah.
Maybe.
What about that? Was it what King Beer?
Lemuel?
Oh, the reveal.
right.
Yeah.
His
Maybe.
his nation.
Oh, the Russian one, 6-pack. It could be. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. But wasn't that
So-
what we ended up calling him? Something like that.
Beer the Sixth, I think his name is. But it prompting the Navy to leap into drastic action. But back with the Roger Pirates, Buggy is sort of crouching on like the top of a box, on top of a crate. He's looking very happy. So Rayleigh is reading out of the newspaper. He says, the man who achieved wealth, fame, and power, the king of the pirates, Gold Roger. And Roger's just laughing. That's Gold D, Roger. But I gotta say, King of the Pirates has a nice ring to it.
Maybe Rayleigh should be doing the prologue to the openings from now on.
Oh, actually, it is the exact same wording in Japanese as the opening to the anime. Yeah, they like tome mese chikara. It says the exact same thing. It's really cool.
Cool.
Wow.
But so I guess it may be Scotberg or Bond saying this, but well, at this point, I can understand why the world government would want to hide your name.
That's probably Rayleigh.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, probably.
No tail, so I would assume it's just a continuation of Rayleigh.
Well, no, there's a tail at the bottom right.
Oh, never mind. Scott Berger.
Oh, that could still be Rayleigh. It's a confusing
it's not
tale.
clear. So Odin's journal continues. The world at large referred to everything that Roger gained as the One Piece. And Roger just continues to laugh, and they have no idea. But because of that fame, they'll all come after you now, Roger. And so around the world, pirates are setting off. I'll be the one to take out Roger. If the Marines are like, find Roger and steal his treasure. He's got everything. So, but he's sort of addressing his men with his hat on and everything. Looking back on it now, it's all been miraculous. See how far we came. Once I already knew I was going to die. I have nothing but gratitude to you all. Whoa. What's all these feelings, Captain? Out of nowhere. You can't do that to us. You're making us blush, you rascal.
Is he a rascal or a scoundrel?
No, that's
Odin's a scoundrel.
Odin's the scoundrel.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. Okay, Steve.
Can't
continue.
use the same insult twice in a flashback.
Of course not.
the
That
rules.
would be uncouth. Steve.
And Roger's like, all right, here it goes. And they're like, all right, Captain, lay it on us. And he's like, no, a lot more gusto here. He's like, I am hereby disbanding the Roger Pirates. And everyone's like, oh. And I almost thought the glub was someone else, like foaming at the mouth, but I think that's leading into this mini little flashback here. I assume it's these two talking. So the birthing's at hand, or sovereign will be born. In another distant sea, the whales are delighted in anticipation of the day of the two sovereigns shall meet again. Yes, we've been waiting for so long. It is almost here, and surely all will go well this time. Just 10 until birth, another 15 to grow. And pretty much the look on Odin's face, like, oh my God, will they shut up?
I feel it in my brain.
It's like they're hungover.
Yeah, why? So if they could hear the voice of all things, why can't? It's like that guy, the guy Will Ferrell played on SNL, like that can't control the volume of his voice. Like, can't they at least chill out? Oh, maybe just because they're so huge. I didn't even think of that, but that's probably the reason they're so loud.
Right. And this
Can do.
it's a flashback and a flashback too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's like, shut up out there, whoever's talking. But no, that's of course Roger yelling out who's talking out there. And then we flash back once again to what we saw earlier. It's like, and Roger's like, hey, Charlie, when is the Mermaid Princess going to be born? And Charlie says, in this many.
I like how this is from his point of view this time, because the other time this panel was in, I mean, like a chapter or two ago.
It was a reverse shot, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dis many.
Dis many.
Dis many.
And Roger says, I'm certain that a voice was speaking the truth. Someone will be born and eventually surpass us. And Roger's like, you see, we were just too early. That's the gist of this. The One Piece that they call it. I wonder who will find it. I think this is Rayleigh saying that. So I was like, I wonder who will find it. And Roger says, that'd be my son, of course. Roger says, and Rayleigh says, you don't have one. Roger's like, oh, but I will. Just you wait. About, what was it? 12 months?
It was more than that. Wasn't it like 22 months or some insane amount? I gotta look that up. It was something insane.
And everyone has a laugh. And Roger says, all right, time to drink, lads. Head us toward the sea where the Navy won't be waiting. It's like, and Odin's like, yeah, and I'm the first one gone. I'm like, get me the hell out of here. And I think that's Roger reiterating. It's like, yeah, and make sure Odin gets home next. So yeah, this was the moment of the Roger parents, the Roger pirates, not the Roger parents. Well, Roger is a parent.
Oh God. Okay, we get it, Steve.
No,
Hearing what he's doing.
One thing, just before we move on, in case it wasn't obvious, this is the post-credit scene from Stampede. If any of you guys remember, I remember it was really confusing the first time I saw it because it was Japanese. It was me having a hard time recognizing the voice actors right away, but yeah, this audio is at the end of Stampede.
Yep.
I'm surprised how much because
Stampede spoiled a lot.
I wouldn't say it's spoiled, but usually the One Piece movies, besides movie 7 with Second Gear, they tend to not put anything that's ahead of the anime that's like happening in the manga. So Stampede had like a lot of this, but
20th anniversary.
Interesting
Well,
factoid there.
Well, Stampede had stuff that the manga wouldn't do for like, when did Stampede come out in Japan? August,
Last
right?
summer. Yeah.
So like 6 months ahead of time, like Laugh Tale and this. Yeah, that's pretty insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Was Oda
actually,
involved in Stampede?
I mean, less so than the other film movies,
Yeah,
I
less
think.
so.
More the
Yeah.
character designs.
I mean, I assume he fed this to the, I assume this was his idea to put this into the movie, and not the other way around. But I don't know. Steve, was that the whole page? Yeah, you finished up there, right, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
So we have a conversation with Odin and Roger. I intend to meet with Whitebeard before I die. Should I have him send Izzo back to Wano? No, he's become very comfortable on that ship. Tell him you take care of White Kichi for me. Will do. And then we go back to Odin narrating. Roger said something to his oldest confidant, Rayleigh, the man they called Dark King, and then he stepped off the ship. He had a whole bunch of medicine from the ship Dr. Crocus. His disease was in its final stages. But this was a man's farewell. We were utterly stoic and not a tear was shed. And this is the greatest panel, I think, in the whole chapter, where it's just beautiful, ugly crying going on here. For the crew of the King of the Pirates would never, ever cry. And then we move forward a little bit to the seas around Wano. It's as brutal as ever. Piles of wrecked ships that tried to and failed to get in. If you steer into the wrong rapid currents, your ship will be smashed to pieces without getting any closer to Wano. Until this point, there was a purpose to this country being closed. But now we must open its ports before the day that Joy Boy appears. It's not as though I'm dying. So, of course, we parted with a smile. We all know that we'll meet again one day. And we have more delicious, ugly crying here.
Oden confirmed for unreliable narrator.
Yes.
I was thinking that. I'm like, it's kind of cool because we never really get that in One Piece. Unreliable narrators.
Oh, Odin. This is Taki speaking. They've met up now in Wano. How I've missed you, Toki, Mamasuki. That's this Hiyori. I've missed you all very, very much. There's a big hugging scene here as all the kids are crawling all over them, and the family's reunited, and Toki's in pretty ragged garbs there for someone who's as high a status. Look how big you are now, Mamasuki. Yes, father. What's this? You've got proper manners too? Welcome back, scoundrel. Oh, here we got the some of the 9 here. And where are your proper manners? Oh, I didn't realize you were deserving of manners. This is who's it speaking here?
Kinemon, probably.
Kinemon.
Mm.
Oof. He took a blow to his ego there. And now they're coming back and going to the towns a little bit now. Lord Odin, welcome back, Lord Odin. Lord Odin, we're so happy for you, Toki. And he's kind of puzzled here because he doesn't realize that he just blew them all off, and they're very happy that he's back. I seem to be popular? I thought they would be angrier. You should be grateful to your wife, Lady Toki. She's a woman of great character once her sickness passed. She went into town and helped the people with their work. She never puts on airs for being the wife of a daimyo. She worked and sweat with everyone else and told exciting tales of your adventures. Lady Toki and the children are now tremendously beloved figures in Kuri. Because of all the great things they've said about you, and this is Dogstorm talking, the number of people who disparage your willful ways has dwindled down to nothing.
This whole chapter is a bunch of just a long walk and talk.
Yep.
We're in the West Wing chapter of One Piece. And we get one of those like everyone's happy panels where Odin is holding Hiyori, who is I assume giggling, saying, you did that for me? Thank you. And Hiyori here in the back, it's only because we love you so much, Odin, right? Momonosuke doesn't reply, but looks stoically. No, he's fine. They seem to be singing or something along those lines. Kanjuro is doing the Home Alone face, I think, in the background there. And Raizo is like, oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I had game.
Wow.
Meanwhile,
that's what they always used to sing about Odin. Who got game? He got game.
Meanwhile, Odin
they
said,
got to go home if they wanted to.
Odin wants to speak to Okiku about Izo, but she already heard from Dogstorm and Cat Viper that all that matters is that he is well. And Odin just says, okay, I see. That chapter is closed. We never have to talk about Izo again or worry about him. I'm sure he's better off than all of us. Anyway, we see one of the smokestacks as the conversation continues. And Odin is asking about Denjiro and Ashura, and also noting that he did not see them a year ago when they originally left to go to find the secret of the world, which I guess now we have a full time frame on. I didn't realize it had been that long. And Cat Viper continues saying that, Ashura is leading the Yakuza and bandits in Kuri. to make sure they don't go crazy. And Denjiro's been just, doing what people do, wandering and borrowing and paying back money. And Odin seems worried about this, holding back brigands, borrowing money. These are not the signs of a healthy country. That hits at home. And they say, yes, there is. But there is another reason that everyone's delighted for your return. And Kinemon begins his exposition here saying, I will tell the story in order. As one sometimes does, unless they're Quentin Tarantino. After you left the country, we
That'd
did
be really hard to do,
just like out loud. And that's when go for it, Steve. Try it. Give it a shot.
It's like, wait, but didn't John Travolta die in the bathroom? No. He's alive here in the diner because this takes place before this.
It's just half the time they're just explaining how it works. Or it's that episode of Home Movies.
It down on a whiteboard. They're trying to figure out the timeline. It's like, if we just told this chronologically, this would be a lot better. I mean, it's like, we get it. You have like the cinematic way of like, you have this like idea cinematically, but it just doesn't work. Oh, here.
Anyway, I will tell you the story in order. After you left the country, we did our best to manage Curry in the absence of its daimyo, with the assistance of the populace. And he continues on saying some of the stuff we saw, but that Odin was not around for. And Odin reacting, saying, so my father was in poor health. I regret not being able to be present as he died. And Kinemon saying, well, the real problem isn't that your father's dead, though that is definitely a problem, don't get me wrong. But it's the Shogun's successor. And to our chagrin, your father, Shogun Sukiyaki, recommended none other than Orochi. And Kinemon goes on, but at this point, Odin takes over in his book, saying, the more I heard, the more confused I was. Orochi, I was confused reading that chapter for the first time too, Odin, by the way. Orochi was like a brother to me now. All I did was lend him money out of consideration to Yasu, and he never once returned a single coin. And we see the little picture of Orochi, the cavity creep there, crying, asking for money. And on top of that, Odin continues, Orochi was the descendant of the Kurazumi clan that caused, as he puts it, that terrible incident in the past. And now I find out that he's occupying my position as Shogun as my proxy. Ed.
Okay. So, as I'm sure you saw on the way here, there are now a number of weapons factories in each region full of supervisors who manage the labor therein. And these look like Kaido's men. And Kinemon says, by the Shogun's own edict, the men have been put to work at the factories on wages too cheap to live on. How can this be? Why is everyone simply obeying like a sniffler like Orochi? The problem is Orochi has the support of a pirate by the name of Kaido, and he is as strong as a monster. Orochi's taking advantage of that to do whatever he wants. That's right. If we were to fight back against Orochi, stop, Kinemon. Don't tell him anything. That's Toki saying that. But Odin says, no, speak, man. What is it? And Raizo, take Lord Momonosuke and Lady Hiyori out of the room as he skitters away. Right away, sir.
Hiyori has a blank face there. Look at them.
Yeah, they're cute. So they continue. About half a year ago, at a weapons factory, there was a man who refused to work, and he and his family were executed. Ta-da. That was the last straw. We'd had enough of Orochi's barbarity. In our anger, we took up swords and marched to the flower capital to put a stop to Orochi, but in the meantime, Kaido's followers snuck into Curry behind us. They infiltrated the castle and threatened the life of your future heir to the Kozuki clan, Lord Momonosuke, and they all bow deeply, to apologize to their lord. Ultimately, the enemies were driven back by Kawamatsu and Dogstorm, who had been standing guard at the castle, but it was none other than Lady Toki who gave up her body to block the enemy's arrows when they first struck. Now, Kinemon, he's continuing to bow. He says, I'm so sorry. It was because of our rash actions that Lady Toki suffered a terrible wound to her leg. We exposed your family to mortal danger. I am so ashamed. I have no excuse. That's a bow.
Yeah, Crystalyn.
Yeah. Sure. Let's see. So without any regard for decorum whatsoever, Oden goes over to Toki and immediately wants her to show him the wound. But Toki's saying, no, don't worry, it's fine. The wound's already completely healed. But he does get a look at the wound, which looks pretty nasty in her thigh. And he says, oh, they shot an arrow through you? And you can see Oden is getting really angry. He said, but he hugs Toki and says, you protected our son. You did so well. It must have hurt so much. And Toki's crying and saying, don't get angry, Oden. Don't get angry. If you get angry over something just trivial like this, the enemy will. And then Oden completely snaps and says, trivial? Toki, you haven't heard the stories about my past. Yes, Toki, let's hope no one told you about the harem. Jeez.
Didn't you hear? I kidnapped them and then I gave them the freedom to choose whether to leave or not.
Leave or not. Yep. So Orochi, now completely almost in kind of berserker mode, says, I see now how Orochi does things. So he tells his men to stay here and protect his family while he grabs his two swords. The two swords that we know quite well now. And I can't remember the names, but one of them is Enma. And he asked them to protect Kuri. And then we get his diary, his journal, and with Oden saying, I don't know all the ins and the outs of the story, but I know this. And you can see that he's probably crashed out of the castle. He may have probably just jumped right out the window. And while they're trying to stop him, stop Lord Oden. But Oden continues, a fool has taken control of Wano. A weak, cowardly fool using the strength of a fearsome pirate. And we see Oden running very fast through the country and as he continues in his journal, taking advantage of this closed nation where no one can interfere and to turn our land into a hellscape. And we see Oden jumping across a bridge. He's obviously going very fast and mostly flying all the way to the castle.
He's like one of those characters in Bleach. Just sort of flying. I don't know. It's a very cool looking panel.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's jumping right in front of a full moon, which, obviously
Zach,
is important.
Oh, yeah, Zach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make a note.
Steve.
Another moon reference.
And then we get one of these beast pirate dudes. And he says, it's like Kozuki Oden is on his way to the flower capital. Murmur, murmur. Report to Lord Orochi. And then meanwhile, you see all the crowds of Wano saying, Lord Oden's back. And someone's like, the legitimate heir. And someone's like, oh, finally. It's like, maybe he'll be the new shogun. And we just hear we hear a scream of terror as we head to the flower capital, and we just see bunch of just rando henchmen just taken out, big knots on their foreheads, going up the stairs. You see more of them knocked unconscious. You could play the real folk blues here if you want, if you think this is the end of Cowboy Bebop.
It's easy to confuse, guys. Very similar. Chapter 968 of One Piece or Cowboy Bebop.
We see we hear some some audio that's like, I guess, like through like maybe like a transponder snail or something that says like Shogun Orochi. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm getting my shoguns mixed up here for a second, but someone's like, Shogun Orochi, come in. And we see Orochi now with his dumb Burger King crown hat, surrounded by some floozies, and he's saying, "Huh?" And And the report is Kozuki Odin has entered the castle. The soldiers are all wiped out. Flee, flee, my lord. And before, just as that message finishes, Lord Odin, as you should, runs through a bunch of rice paper doors, charging at Orochi. And Orochi's like, he's just like, no, wait. It's like, no, I mean, Odin. It's like, think carefully. Kaido's not going to like it if you attack me. Like, think about what will happen to the country. And Odin, with a really cool turn to the camera line, says, only or after I cut you in two. And Orochi's like, oh, no, I forgot. This guy's crazy.
You know,
He's insane.
I mean, no, but he should have known. Like, being cut in half by Odin isn't. You know, you can come back from that. Like that board
Just
is.
get stitched up.
Sew it up.
It's not that bad.
By the way, we did have some questions during this, and I know that we have fans yelling the answers to them. So I've got at least two answers. First off, Ace was in the womb for 20 months, obviously. A completely normal amount of time.
Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah. The name of Odin's swords are Emma and Ame no Habakiri. And those are the answers I looked up for this week. So let's go around the horn and talk about thoughts on this little chapter, and then talk about some of the more lore-y stuff, because there's still a lot more of that. Crystalyn.
Sure. This was a very text-heavy chapter.
Apologies for all the reading in this one, but it was just like all text.
Yeah, so again, it's good. It's kind of a good contrast to last week's chapter, which was just very super heavy on the emotions and iconic moments, and so I kind of like that. It's actually kind of like a good contrast to not last week, 2 weeks ago chapter. I very much enjoyed the crying panels. They were just wonderful, and very sweet. Sweet and funny at the same time, you know. Let's see. I guess I will mention very quickly, just since I have the Japanese version here, when they say One Piece twice in the chapter, and they use the kanji that they usually use when they talk about One Piece, which is hitotsunagi no daihiho, which means kind of just daihiho means like great treasure, and then hitotsunagi, I think that means connecting people, or one connection. So it's the usual kanji that they usually use for One Piece. But no,
they use katakana though on the actual title.
Yes. They did use the katakana One Piece next to the massive amount of kanji and hiragana that they have. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to parse the so which circumstances, I'm trying to think. They use the kanji, I guess, when they're just referencing the treasure in the manga itself.
I think so. I haven't read one so much of the Japanese that I remember when they used it last. I didn't know. It
does not come up that much, considering it's the title of the series. Yeah. No, it's a really interesting note.
And I will
go ahead.
I will say when they used in the very beginning, when they used Raftail, they just used the regular katakana without writing laugh tail in English next to it. So I think that's what they'll probably do going forward.
Everyone knows now. We all know the secret English romanization. All right, cool. Thank you, Crystalyn. Kelly.
So I also absolutely loved the crying panels, but the one thing that I think for me personally I enjoyed the most, as we're seeing more of Roger and just seeing his personality and stuff, I absolutely just loved his departure from his crew. You know, he knows he's going to die. He could have stayed on and just, continued to do stuff, continued to be out there and be kind of in it. And the fact that he got everything and was okay with walking away like that. I just thought that that departure panel, in addition to the crying, was just super amazing and like a really good indication of like more of his personality and how just great of a character that was. So I really, really kind of liked seeing that aspect of it a lot. And I was looking at all the birth things, trying to figure out, okay, we know, that Shirahoshi is going to be born and her birthday is April 4th. And I was trying to see what other characters were born on that. And I know it's probably not the case, but I'm now rooting for Foxy, who shares a birthday with Shirahoshi.
You're right.
to
It's
be
got to
the
be
other
Foxy.
person to be the other person that they're talking about.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Because I have a friend who's also born on April 4th, and we just give them shit by telling them that Foxy's born on that day. I have to make a note to never tell them that Shirahoshi is born on that day.
It's Foxy and Shirahoshi and one more character.
Just Foxy.
But I'm so wanting the other person. I know it's not going to be, but I'm so wanting the other person to be Foxy now. I think Sicilian is the other one that's born.
Foxy was the chosen one.
Can you imagine?
He's the savior.
Well, I'm figuring it's either that or Laboon, and I'm probably the only person on Earth who hates Laboon, so...
So wait.
Yeah.
That's weird. And yes, you are. But imagine, guys, Luffy gets to Laugh Tale only to see Foxy was already there.
Riding
Laboon.
Or to find out it's actually called FehFehFeh Tale. Maybe, Foxy was born because he's supposed to be the sovereign that's supposed to... He's gonna win every fishman on Fishman Island in a Davy back fight to bring them back to the surface via Noah. It checks out with me. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That would piss off
so many people.
Together.
I know.
Shirahoshi and Foxy together, they will bring balance to this world.
I only love it
and
as
they'll
just
get
like
married.
Excellent.
That's weird.
And have plenty of beautiful, ugly children.
What ugly children. Anything else?
Well, they should all just have like that big schnoz,
Wow, yeah, they all are just a bunch of really beautiful mermaids, but with that big schnoz.
Mm-hmm.
Are we shipping Shirahoshi and Foxy? Is that what's happening right now?
I am.
Yeah,
This is
now
gross
Can't see it.
and weird and anatomically impossible and also gross. Kelly.
I think I've caused enough havoc with Foxy, so I'm good.
You almost made me do a spit take. I just that was my moment. I decided to have some spit. Ray.
I guess I come up with more questions every time I read these kind of things. So when he's talking at the beginning about the One Piece, and then they said they have no idea, and then he kind of laughs. I'm not quite sure what that's about. If that's about the One Piece that they saw, and they're laughing about that, or if that's something else going on there.
Yeah,
and the whole whale thing. I don't know if they mean that who the other sovereign is going to be. That's intriguing to say the least there. But overall, the chapter these chapters seem to move very quickly for his thing, and I feel like at some point in time they have to slow down to get the emotional payoff. That this kind of bang 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 isn't going to have the same emotional payoff as other flashbacks until it slows down somewhat.
Right, that's the shot.
Flashback.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say that's the shamisen making the bang 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 noise. Okay, sorry. It's my dad joke for the day. Yeah, anything else, Ray, that you want to mention about the chapter?
Nope, I'm just keeping up with all this and amazing that they can. It just brings up more questions about everything, which is, I think I like that about Oden. Everyone, you had your show last week where you guys got into all the philosophies and trying to come up with theories of things. And I always think, he always comes up with something in the end that when you look back on it, you think, oh, okay, yeah, I see it now. But it's so hard to predict it ahead of time to kind of say, well, I think this is going to happen. I think this is going to happen.
And I mean, it's what we were also saying last week. It's just like when you're going in such a micro scale, you're not really thinking about the chapters before, or like, oh, what happened in chapter 356 that has to do with this or whatever. Kind of having that 30,000 foot view definitely changes your perspective on a lot of this. Steve.
Yeah, jam-packed chapter. I liked it a lot. Definitely, this is the end of the Roger portion of this flashback for now. Still so many questions to be answered. Just calling back to what I said on the last manga recap, I like that this flashback covered a lot of aspects about Roger's story that we already knew. I'm just glad that there's so many other things still to tell. So we'll be getting plenty of more of the Roger Pirates in future flashbacks, I'm sure. But I assume Shanks. Well, I think the crew already knew about Roger's sickness, so I don't think this is Shanks like finding out for the first time. But
no. It's something unrelated. We don't know what.
It's too vague to call right
The
now.
crying?
Yeah.
It's probably about the hat.
You're gonna have to give your hat up.
I mean, hey, the hat's important. We know there's a hat in the freezer somewhere, and
He's probably
Roger
crying
knows-
about his hat.
Yeah, Roger has seen the One Piece. He knows about the hat. I don't know.
No,
It was
I
his
don't.
hat, red hair Shanks. He was number one.
He probably
One thing I
misses
wanna-
his hat. Go ahead.
One things I want to point out is something I noticed, and I went back and looked through the latest volume of One Piece. I forget which number this is. You guys just talked about it. Was it 95?
95. Yeah.
95. Odin's face has gotten a lot longer and more angular.
Like a banana.
I noticed
Or
that
some-
too.
Some sort of
Yeah.
squash.
His
No,
eyes
his
look a
face-
lot different, I thought.
His face is a lot more rectangular. I noticed, like, going back into some of his like intro chapters, his face is a lot more condensed, a lot more chiseled, and now he's become much more of like a cartoon character. It's just interesting. It's just to see how Oda's adapted to drawing him for so many chapters. But other than that, I do like the family hug panel. Toki embracing Odin, little Momonosuke with his little succulent haircut, going in for a hug in the chest, and then Hiyori, big ol' hug on the knee. Give herself all the kneecap she could hug. That was really cute. But other than that, one last thing. And then just like the finale of Odin just charging in the castle, taking out dudes is such an action movie trope, but it's really cool to see. Hell of a cliffhanger to leave off on. I was like, oh, I mean, I know Orochi is not going to get killed right here because that would be a time paradox. But nonetheless, it was like, it reminded me a lot of Luffy going in for the punch on Wapol right before the flashback in Drum.
Mhm.
It was like, except we know now in hindsight that Luffy did get to land that punch. But who knows? Odin could like cut off Orochi's head, and then you could have this whole stupid Hydra joke. It's like cut off one head, two replaces it, and then he just keeps cutting them. He's like, stop doing that. I assume Kaido's coming in next chapter and gonna lay on the hurt on Odin probably.
Mhm.
Ed.
All right, so I don't know what I really liked in this chapter was the relationship between Odin and his vassals, because you can really see it after he comes back, and they do the big embrace like Steve was saying, and everyone's in all these shabby clothes and everything, and the country is starting to fall apart, but they've sort of held it together. But they're really looking to him to sort of lead at this point, because they can't actually do anything because Orochi is the head and Kaido has his back. So just to see the relationship between Odin and Toki and Odin and his vassals that that was very good. That was very emotional. Even if it did move pretty fast, I think it's going to continue to move fast because this flashback is already very long. So,
yeah, this is. I did the research. This is the longest flashback we have ever had in One Piece, believe it or not, and most don't. I keep having people saying. Like I counted. I used math to figure it out. I'm not trying to be that facetious, but a little bit facetious.
You have the power of math and anime at your side.
I know. Well, I have the power of spreadsheets in anime. So, I mean, for those curious, this is the 9th chapter. If you count the last page, the 9th and plus 1 page. Of this flashback. The longest ones we have had before this have all been 8 chapters exactly. Nolan Kagura was 986 through 293. But the full chapter.
Wait. 286 through 293.
What did I say? Did I
986. You said
there's been a lot of
986.
chapters of
There's
One
been a lot
Piece.
of chapters.
Math. I could use math, Ed. The Robin flashback was 8 chapters, 391 through 398. Again, including the full one at the end, so that counts as a full number.
Because we got to get like the whole, Odin's still alive. Like, I mean, I guess he could die in one chapter. Like,
well, the whole thing that happens at the end of Zoe, we talked a lot about it last week. Also, the Luffy flashback was 8 chapters, and the Fisher Tiger Otohime flashback was also 8 chapters. So all of those were around the same length. This is definitely longer because this is definitely not over. We haven't gotten the emotional payoff yet. And I'm sure there will be one. There's a lot I want to mention about this chapter. And first, I want to thank David Bednar, who supplied us with all of the, and there's not a lot, but all of the Neptunian/Sea King talking pages from Fishman Island. And the first thing I want to say is, who knew Fishman Island would be the most important arc of One Piece? Like, it seems to be increasingly consequential to the overall story, and to my shock. Because, I mean, we had a lot of problems with Fishman Island when it originally came out. I don't know if you recall, like, Steve, what our opinions were on Fishman Island.
I remember those
hundreds of episodes.
Those Hard Knock days, those Hard Noah days. I know the air cannon that we've never seen before. Let's go with that. That was rough.
Yeah, but the stuff for the Sea Kings is seemingly, and I think at the time we also agreed, super important. The stuff with Charlie and the prediction about the guy with the straw hat who may or may not be Luffy that destroys Fishman Island in the future, that's important. Her premonitions here, pretty important. Also, and Stephen also pointed this out, but thanks to David, I have this in front of me. The dialogue directly overlaps with the same dialogue we had with the Neptunian/Sea Kings in Fishman Island. This is not going to take long because there's not a lot of dialogue that the Sea Kings had, but the first time they remark on Luffy being a mighty little man. That if we had been a moment later, the island would be safe, but Noah would have been dashed to pieces. And they have a conversation directly with Shirahoshi, which I completely forgot about, saying, I'm not going to do an impression, but Princess Shirahoshi, we have been waiting and waiting for you to be born. This ship was built for us to pull. It has been spoken of for years and years among us that every few hundred years, our sovereign is born in the form of a mermaid for some reason. That's what they say. Why is that? And they say that they don't really, I guess they're rhetorically asking, why is that? From the moment of your birth, you have been our queen. And continues to say, much later, that there was remarking about Luffy being able to hear their voice, and then looking back at Roger, that same line, Rayleigh, did you hear that? Hear what? It's dead silent down here. And then him saying, who the hell's talking out there? And then the one where they're setting down Noah in the sea forest. For those who don't remember, saying that they will need their help to fix Noah, but it is a different age now. Can it be fixed before the promised time? So I had never heard the term sovereign, I thought, besides in the Venture Brothers, and I was surprised to read it. It is a very odd. It's this kind of, I mean, I guess the destiny and fate thing is kind of part of the One Piece, and the inherited will thing is part of the One Piece, what do you call it, story. But I don't remember that term sovereign, but I guess that's referring to Shirahoshi, since that's who it was referring to in Fishman Island. And then the other in a distant sea, obviously, I think we all assume is Luffy or Foxy. I'm sorry, Foxy. I'm such an idiot. And also the mention of whales, which Kelly, you mentioned your hatred of Laboon for some reason. Which why am I?
It is important that Crocus is taking care of him. So he knows what the deal is, but he's taking care of that whale.
Why are the whales delighted in anticipation is also a good of the day the two sovereigns shall meet. So I guess Luffy and Shirahoshi.
Maybe it's like opening up the sea or something, so they can move around.
Are whales like cousins of the Sea Kings? Why can't we have our own sovereign too?
Luffy's the whale sovereign, and because obviously they can't speak the same fish language as Shirahoshi and the Sea Kings speak because they're fish. Also, want to make
an Aquaman thing, because Aquaman can talk to any sea animal,
including whales. Yeah, so that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I guess can they all communicate with each other? Yeah. Also, that really derpy Sea King is there in this little flashback. I just want to note, because I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's the one that looks really stupid. It's always the same ones.
I can't speak for Steven since he is not here, but I will say in the Japanese, they use the word ol, meaning king, usually, for when he translated as sovereign. So I feel like that might be he might have referenced that use of sovereign in the past.
Yeah, I'm guessing Steven wanted to also be consistent with, because he also mentioned to me that it's the same dialogue from, I think it's volume 65. So, wow, 10 volumes, not 10 volumes, 30 volumes ago. However many, who knows. The other interesting note, Joy Boy apparently is coming back. Is that what we're getting there? That's on page 7 of this chapter, that before the day Joy Boy appears, they need to open their ports, or the ports of Wano. That's
Joy
a new
Boy's
thing.
back and he's better than ever.
Does that mean Joy Boy is more a title? Or...
So, yeah, I asked Steven actually after our whole tinfoil hat discussion from last week. It actually has nothing to do with this. I said, what did I ask him? Steven, is there a possibility Joy Boy could be translated as something else like the Raftel Laugh-Tail thing, or that it could refer to a place and not a person? And to those he said yes and no, so that it could be translated potentially as something else, but that it doesn't refer to a place and not a person. I mean, I don't know, Crystal, and you have it in front of you too. If like
it is just Joy Boy in katakana.
That doesn't help anything, does it?
I mean, and in particular, it's in quotes. He actually uses like Western quotation marks instead of the way Japanese people usually quote things, which is like with a little half box. He just uses quotation marks around it.
And it was mentioned that Joy Boy might be named after that like prophetic, I forgot what country, Philippines or Indonesia. There was a king that like basically said that the Dutch would be kicked out, and something along those lines. We mentioned it in last week's episode that
Joy
might be
Boy
what that's named after.
I'm probably going to mispronounce it. It wouldn't be like one of those, what is it, Cloudbouterman, like the spirits that live in ships, right? There's no way Joy Boy is like maybe tied to that ship.
I don't know.
You have to open the port, so that it can come back.
It's very weird since they refer to him or it in the past tense when they're like, oh, what it would be like to live in your day. Joy Boy Roger mentions last chapter.
Yeah.
And in this chapter, they say we must open the ports before the day that Joy Boy appears. So
Because that's what was made me thinking. Maybe it was like a spirit tied to a ship and it's just always been around but couldn't move because the ship was damaged or the vehicle was damaged.
Yeah.
Or he's dormant. He's gone to sleep,
or something like that. Because I could see that being tied to perhaps something if you have to open the ports.
I don't know. Beyond the lore stuff. Oh, one other thing. I don't know if we discussed this already, but Roger is probably telling the thing to Rayleigh that Rayleigh mentioned back at Shaggy's bar in chapter whatever that was now, 500 something. What is it? I will never die, or something like that. Or like I'll live on.
I'll never die.
Forget exactly what the quote is. But yeah, other than
someone tested that out on Twitter. There was something about that where they compared the two sections and looked at that and said that what he was saying to Raleigh there is why Raleigh could be so content in his new job and not mourning.
Yeah, I think Rayleigh also mentions it's the last thing that Roger told him, so that would not be that would probably be this moment. Right? Why wouldn't it be? That one other thing is like going back through the Ace chapters to try and figure out like how many months Rouge was pregnant for. The interaction there is even more interesting between Roger and Garp about how proud he is that he's going to have a son, but he won't live to see it. And telling him, "Oh, you're going to watch him. I trust you as much as any crewman." And it was really interesting because of the whole thing we just learned about Garp and Roger working together against the Rocks pirates, and that they're kind of brother in arms reluctantly, but during that battle kind of, I think, gives a little more context to why he trusted Garp with Ace. Besides that, Garp's just a good guy. Come on. Not a great grandfather, but a good guy. He did take a punch. So I think that's about it. You guys have mentioned most of the other stuff. The Odin character stuff, which Crystalyn kind of hit on a little bit. I'm going to hold off until this is done before like making my final determination about that. Just because I feel like that could be a subject. That could be a long discussion that I feel like could might benefit more from seeing it in its full context. Any other thoughts here? No. Okay. Let's move into the next segment. Get on your Banana Gator shoes, because it's time for the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories, and you better look good doing it. Ed, it's time for
This Piece.
And Steve is going to take us through those this week. Thank you, Steve.
This Piece. Sorry. I wasn't sure who was going to be saying it this week.
Yeah, it ends on a low note, but okay, whatever. Go ahead, Steve.
This Piece? I'm just taking over for this week. Apologies if I missed yours because I'm not sure where we left off, but our first one's going to be from Narthone, and he says, "I'd like an episode of the history of the One Piece podcast. I don't understand the Fire Crouch callback since I started listening after they were gone. I'd also like to hear why the four hosts are host status versus the guests that are on all the time. I'd like to hear how you developed such a clean format despite the difficulty of having many people on each episode. I'm not going to go back and start listening from the beginning. Life is full and busy. As always, thanks for the show."
First off, don't go back.
I mean, those are like 10 years ago. Being 10 years younger, especially, at that age, it was a lot of trial and error. And
yeah, I mean, we could do a history of the podcast, probably.
Basically, we did like a dry run of that on Patreon, the Crewing Around that I did with Zach over the holidays.
Yeah, and Ed and I kind of did the same thing for Patreon too. The 600th episode special thing that we did.
So if you're not on the Patreon,
join the Patreon.
No, if they're asking the Patreon questions, they're on the Patreon.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's
yeah,
what this is.
you're
My
right.
mistake.
You're right.
Well, listen to those again. Let's go over this, but let's see here. Yeah, Fire Crouch. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, you don't need an
So, there's
explanation.
so
for
many
that.
stories to be.
Yeah,
told.
I think he's working at a goat farm, and that's all you need to know.
I don't even know.
You know, he was just a fan favorite, irreverent guy that we had on who hated it when One Piece did well, but was still a big One Piece fan.
He didn't hate it when he did well. He just like it's like I wish it wouldn't do well, just so I had something interesting to talk about. And we were just like, how dare you?
I mean, I think the running joke is just that there is like a core fan base of his that for some reason still exists. Like 8 years after he's stopped appearing on our show, or however many years it's been. Yeah, keep going.
Why the four hosts are the four hosts?
So I mean, I could,
bloodline, right, Zach? That's what
bloodline. It's inherited will. So it is my child. It makes sense. He's like 4 months younger than me.
Well, as you see,
but I'm your One Piece daddy because I introduced you to the show.
Don't call yourself that. That sounds weird.
And Zach's my Zach daddy. So
oh my god. I'm just gonna leave.
In case I never provide context for the term Zach daddy, that was just why I started referring to Zach when we were in Japan. Because
I was taking care of them. So Ed and I were the first hosts because we recorded together and it was just us. Then I recorded a lot with Steve in New York when he and I lived there in the same room. We didn't live in the same room. We recorded
in the same room.
We recorded in the same room. So that's how we became hosts. And then
I think I was already like host by the end of 2009, right?
10. I think it was the end of 2010.
No, I think 2009. I think kind of like once I went to like Anime USA with you guys, it was kind of just like
no, I think it was
you were host. You hosted the panel, so that's how you were a host.
Mm-hmm.
You hosted the panel.
Yeah, and Alex asked, and I said yes. I mean, it's more complicated than that, I guess.
I say that sounds so romantic the way you just described it.
I know, right? Can I be one too? Yeah. Alex asked to be a host, and where is he? Huh? Where?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason is because the three of them we either record in the same room. They actually we didn't live in the same room.
It's also when Steve and Alex are doing 20 minutes of BS a lot,
right?
And Schmaltz.
Yeah.
Opposed to.
Yeah, and they were involved in all. They were just involved in like every aspect of the podcast and all the spin-off podcasts and all the crazy shit we've done over the years. That's how that happened. Yeah, and Steven will always be a very special guest because he doesn't want to be a host. He's on like the same level though for us as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead.
Clean format, despite the difficulty of having many people in each episode.
Disagree.
That is all about chemistry. That is all. I don't know. We will talk over each other on occasion. It happens when you record like 5-6 people over Skype.
What are you talking about, Steve? I'm trying to
stop.
What?
And Sark has this problem with talking over people. I think that is just. I think it's just some sort of like sixth sense you develop. You know people's cadences. You kind of know when they're about to wrap up, or you just try your best. I think that's all it is. But yeah, thanks for that question. Our next one is from Kind King 01. It says, they say, I think we're going back in the flashback a little longer than most people are expecting. If you look at all of Odin's vassals, they don't seem to look quite old enough yet before they make the jump through time. I think if/when Odin does die, it's going to be a long, drawn-out death and not something instant. Kaido could have killed Luffy on the spot, but he chose to try and break his spirit first. I think Kaido will do the same to Odin. Long, drawn-out torture. I could see this flashback going for another month. I don't think it's gonna go for another month.
Well, another month is only like 3 chapters.
That is true. Yeah.
So that's not. It sounds long, but it's not that long.
Yeah.
I'd always seen like, I know the anime kind of had some sort of scene of him dying anyway by just normal sword fight, but I feel like his my name is Odin and I was born to boil is a bit prophetic.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that to come to fruition somehow.
Yeah, for people who are not fans of Odin, he might be boiling alive. So you got that. Yeah.
Say your name is Odin and you like to boil, do you? And here, have all the boiling Odin in the world.
My God.
I could see him being tortured for a long period of time, and they're just like nothing will break him. So they think it's like, well, we could try boiling him.
Is that what you do when you run out of ways to torture someone? Well, we could boil him.
Lock him in the sauna. All right, come on, guys. I'm starting to get really dehydrated.
Is there a reason to believe the rock pirate thing is going to be on this flashback?
No, I
That's
think
too
we've
much.
already. Yeah, no, that was that already happened because Whitebeard already had split off from that when we saw him.
This was Whitebeard's like, oh wait, hold on. I want to tell my story now. It's like, no, sit this one out, Whitebeard.
What's the next question?
Yeah, I don't think so. Next one here is from, let me check here. Straw Hat Pirate 9. Toki being the reason that the people of Wano still love Odin is really sweet. She has definitely been more of a background character in this flashback, but I do appreciate her relationship with Odin. She really loves him, and he really loves her and his family too. I agree.
I mean, they did have that big reunion moment. I mean, we did talk a little bit on the last episode. A lot of people, myself included, are very hard on Odin because he just kind of left his whole family there to do this thing. And then I remembered that almost every other major character in One Piece has done the same thing at least some point. Not saying it's a good thing, but just saying it's a very common trope in the series. Yasop is probably the most.
I know you guys were talking a lot about Yasop on the last episode.
The most we've ever talked about Yasop.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also Garp too.
And Garp, and I mean Dragon. Literally
Olivia.
has Olivia.
I'm sorry, not Olivia. Olivia. My mistake.
Olivia.
Olivier is FMA. So.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of character. Not saying it is a good thing to do. It is very much not a good thing to do. But it's happened a lot. I think that's one of the reasons why like One Piece is resonant in that people find their own families. Like your birth family isn't necessarily what's the most important. So yeah, I don't know. What's next?
Next one is from Stella. And they say, wait, what? This piece started without me? I was going to try and start it before Oda. I mean, Zach and Ed could, but the early chapter release foiled me. Curse you, Sonata. I mean, curse you, Viz. Wait, no, don't curse Viz. I take it back. I love legal manga. Okay, on to my question. If the main cast of Seinfeld were in the One Piece world, which pirate crews would they join?
Wow.
So we got one of the survey answers was like, please stop doing the questions where it's like, if it was random blank. But Kramer, we actually have gotten this question. I am almost positive.
I think so.
Yeah, like the fact that we've gotten 2 people asking what the Seinfeld characters would do in One Piece is
all
pretty
of them
insane.
would join the wrong crew. They would make a mistake and they'd be a part of the wrong crew.
Yeah.
Like George would be on the Blackbeard Pirates. And like, Jerry, they want to take over the world. They want to turn it upside down. I have no idea what they're doing. Like George would get caught up in that, and Blackbeard would be like, "Ha ha ha! You are captain of my 6th ship." He's like, "Jerry, I'm captain of the 6th ship. I don't even know what that is."
What about Elaine?
Elaine,
broke
that's a
me.
good one.
Do your Julia Louis-Dreyfus impression now, Steve.
How come like the only thing I thought of is her just like sucking through her teeth, going like, "Ooh."
Get out.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like she like maybe she would like join up with like the newcomer, and like she'd be like, "Oh, this isn't really my scene," and they would all just like compliment her hair. Kramer is basically a One Piece character. He could fit
Kramer
in.
is a One Piece
He's like
character.
Odin.
That's fair.
Very
Yeah.
impulsive and just zoom.
Oh yeah. He's impulsive, and he's also very, what's the word? He's very crass.
Yeah.
He doesn't give.
I could-
he doesn't give a shit. He'll
I could
just
see
do his
Kramer
thing.
holding onto a chain, being dragged by a boat for a long period of time.
And it's true. Everyone loves Kramer, but it makes no sense. he's got like a magnetic personality.
Jerry wouldn't be part of any pirate crew because we all know he doesn't want to be a pirate.
Yep, that's the correct answer. That was so
All right,
stupid.
let's move on from that. Kind King 01 is back because he's convinced that Luffy is Joy Boy. There is definitely some weird time travel shenanigans / reincarnation thing going on. When Roger said he wished he could have lived in Joy Boy's era, he's talking about Luffy's era in the future, which Roger knew he would die before he would see it. The poneglyph on Fishman Island was an apology. What if this is an apology from Luffy to Shirahoshi? If the Noah was supposed to be the vessel to take all the fishmen from Fishman Island to the surface so he could show her a real forest. I know I'm probably grasping at straws here, but I can't shake this feeling I'm onto something. I don't know. That sounds very convoluted.
Luffy would never apologize to Shirahoshi.
Mm-hmm. Luffy would just be like, I'm a time traveling wizard. It's like I don't always have time for a walk through the forest.
Not really sure how that time travel would work either.
Yeah, I think that's like maybe assuming like Luffy is Joy Boy reincarnated, but oh boy.
Yeah. Toki said you couldn't travel back through time.
Maybe Joy Boy is just the hat.
It's a sentient hat.
know.
We've been saying this for a while.
It says sentient hat. No, maybe it's not even sentient. Maybe it like maybe it's like the Futurama, the brain slug thing. It like takes over your brain. You don't even realize it. What's next?
And our last one is from Morgil. They say, inspired by the last disc piece, my new theory as to what Roger and crew said that made them laugh so much is a time traveling DeLorean.
A DeLorean.
Yeah, har, because if you're gonna travel back in time, why don't you do it in style? In a fucking
God.
car that breaks down way too easily.
I'm trying to. A time machine made out of a gremlin. Okay. Let's go to emails. First one comes from Prime Minister Awesome. That is his name. I missed the chance to send him my general questions, so I'll ask them this week. First off, he has a few. These are like general theory kind of stuff, like what we did last week. The cover story of chapter 470 has Eneru looking at a wall painting with his head tilted. Is the platform they're standing on a big upside down straw hat? God, I think that's on our One Piece Connection page, so I would have to pull that up. While I do pull that up, though, thinking about it, has Rayleigh been coding ships on Shawbuddy Archipelago all this time as a way of covertly vetting rookies that make it to the Grand Line's halfway point, hoping that someone will make it all the way?
Are you saying that he's been murdering pirates by doing a shoddy job on ship coding?
I don't like this guy. I'm just going to really badly coat this ship. Well, he doesn't coat everyone's ship. He's been mostly gambling, from what Shaki was saying. As old criminals who have retired often do. Yeah, what do you guys think? Any? No.
I mean, he does have it's a good place for him to be. He's in the middle of the action, so to speak.
So I'm looking at the cover story image. I mean, I guess you could see that as a kind of upside down straw hat, but I think that's like really pushing it a lot. I mean, It's basically just like the line with like a half circle that it's cut off, you know. I mean, I guess it's One Piece. I don't know. It could be, I guess. I'm not going to like rule it out, but there's no reason I have to think that that's what it is. It looks like, I mean, the whole thing is in that cover story, it seems to be showing the story of those little moon men departing up to the moon for whatever reason, and then all the what do you call it? The Skypeans and the winged races all being back down on clouds or Earth or something. It's very confusing because we don't know what it is referring to. That is it for his question. We have one from Ryan, who says, how would you all feel when One Piece is finished if Oda would randomly reveal strange facts about the One Piece world on social media, similar to how J.K. Rowling does it for Harry Potter?
No.
Nope.
Wait, you haven't heard his example yet? You haven't heard his example?
Tell me.
Go ahead, Ed. What were you going to say?
No. No. It just, yeah. I don't know. She should have just stopped. She should have just stopped.
You flustered Ed with
it's
anger.
like the end of documentaries where you say, okay, and this person is now living in West Virginia, blah, 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 you know. And they have these little segments at the end.
Is that Animal House the one that ends like that? Which movie?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's Senator Blutarsky.
Right, yeah. So he has an example. Oda would for no reason say that the Thousand Sunny didn't have a toilet, so the Straw Hats would have to go over the railing.
God.
This thought came to me last week, and I like to think that it would happen, and it would be nuttier than what we'd hear in the SBS. Yeah, that's the thing. The SBS is kind of already that. And definitely, if you listen to last week's episode with Stephen and Ed going through the SBS for Volume 95, it includes way too much information. Let's put it that way. As they all do.
Toriyama's gotten close recently with some like Dragon Ball stuff when he was it the S cells or whatever midichlorian
thing.
Basically his midichlorians, and everyone's just like stop, just stop. That's why I want to find out one day, like, oh well, Luffy had the Straw Hat genes, so of course, like that's why he just like found himself in a situation where he impressed a pirate so much they passed on a Straw Hat onto him. It's all genetics. Don't ever fucking use that.
Yeah, I hope that is not going to be the end of the series. I guess
it's what we call the Wano parents theory. Don't use it.
All right. Let's go to Reddit. This question is related to Stephen, but I think it is perfect if we read it while Stephen isn't here. This one comes from Lord Nemo 593. What would happen if Stephen got drunk one Saturday night and decides to write Zoro instead of Zolo?
I mean, his editor would notice.
That's why there's an editor.
that's the boring answer.
Also, do you guys know why the One Piece anime is allowed to use more proper names for characters and stuff? For example, like Zoro and Sea Kings instead of Zolo and Neptunians.
It's not like allowed or not allowed. It's a decision that they made a long time ago, and they're sticking with it for consistency's sake. And yeah, it's a decision that they made. There wasn't. I don't think there's really being forced to.
I mean, I do want to take this opportunity to say, of course, I think, and it's been a long time since we've kind of discussed this more in depth, but of course we would want to see, and we do read when we do the manga recap, Zoro and Sea Kings instead of Zolo and Neptunians. But we don't really have control of that. And for us, that's not really a big enough reason to completely abandon the official release like it has been for others, which seems misguided. All right, next one, Sailor Karna asks, how long was Odin gone from Wano? I'm a little confused on the timeline. Well, this is perfect because I wrote out a timeline last week. I did.
Is this Zach or the person asking?
No, me. I'm answering. So very quickly, the flashback started 41 years ago. Whitebeard arrived 30 years ago. And so that's the same time that Odin left. And we are now at 24 years ago. Because it's been, or 25 to 24 years ago. So he was gone for around 5. I think he was gone for 5 years because when he was in Wano, he said it had been 4 years. So that's kind of your answer, I hope. Sabrid said, I finally circumnavigated the entire One Piece podcast backlog and discovered that there are 4 road podcasts I must find. I know where Endless Schmaltz is and 20 Minutes of Bullshit. I just need to find the Boobcast and One Piece Podcast Abridged. Then I could finally be king of the time sinks.
Okay, well, there's that last one never really existed.
No, it did exist, and it was
never
threw it
published,
out.
and then
It
you
was
deleted
never
it. It was
published.
never- yeah, it was
it
never
definitely
published
does
and
not
deleted it.
exist. You will
Yeah.
never find it because
Even if
I
you wanted
can't.
to, you've lost
Yeah.
several computers.
Yeah.
One was stolen, and yeah, the rest are gone. Yeah, you're never gonna find that. And yeah, they're on.
it's not worth digging up from what I can remember.
No,
I mean,
but
the Boopcast is right there. It's just in specials.
yeah, don't tell them where it is. The others are all on patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. They're all there. Everything's there. Next one, the Real Peaches 144 said, we've had characters refer to the return of Joy Boy, but personally, I don't see anyone living that long or coming back from the dead. So I wonder, is Joy Boy a title? Is it a will reincarnated? And on that note, even though we
Inherited, Zach, inherited.
And on that note, even though we still know nothing about the will of D, I highly doubt that the D indicates characters are related. And since the will of D is unknown to the world, what causes parents to name their kids with the D? That is a great question. Or is D another title sort of thing? And one final question. Why does everyone hate the name Trafalgar D. Waterlaw? I don't see it as any weirder than any other One Piece name.
If you know your Napoleonic history, it's not bad at all.
It sounds like really stupid for some reason because it's like so forced. That's the reason. It just sounds. I don't know. That's the reason I don't like it. Yeah. Do you guys have any thoughts on all this other stuff?
I don't think law was intended to be a D originally, so it felt like an ass pull.
I think Joy Boy went to the moon, and that's why he's coming back. He's going to come back from the moon.
Enru, man.
He kind of brings up an interesting point. He dismisses it, but why can't Joy Boy just have lived 900 years? Is it really that out of the realm of possibility? I mean, giants live 300 to 400 years.
Yeah.
How long did Neptunians live? Could he be a sentient Neptunian?
What would that look like?
Well, we drew that last week.
Oh, no. I know what that... Oh, my God. Imagine if Joy Boy looks like that fishman that Luffy drew at, like, the very beginning of One Piece. I love it, and that's my new theory. That's it. That's what Joy Boy is. It's that drawing.
Well,
that guy walking around.
Isn't Zunisha old enough?
Yeah, he's 1,000 years. Yeah. Oh, and he did... And yeah, there's a lot with that whole thing too, because I was reading a lot of Zoe recently because Grant's been talking about it. And I mean, he was like specifically tasked to just like walk around aimlessly. And he's commanded specifically by Momonosuke. And there's a lot there that could be related to this. It would be really cool to see it just be like 1,000-year-old person. And also Toki, although she was obviously shot through time. Next question comes from Ima Ivano M. Roger did not say King of the Pirates here to Whitebeard and Odin. He attributes that title to the newspapers, meaning that Luffy didn't say this as a kid to Ace and Sabo too, since it's implied he said the same thing as Roger. So for those who don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Both Roger and Luffy in his respective flashbacks say something like, he says like what he's going to be or what his goal is or something, and it cuts away and comes back to the other party kind of laughing or being like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I was surprised that he's like, oh, King of the Pirates, that sounds cool. Like that wasn't what he said, implying that wasn't what he said back then.
Oh, yeah.
And that the One Piece was named after the government too, it seems. Because he said something like they coined it as the One Piece. He didn't, right?
And then he laughed mysteriously after that.
Well, as you do. All right. We'll go to the next question. Typeset says, poll for the OPP gang. Does Enru come back into play in the final arc?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Why else would he have a cover story? You can't just leave him.
Two more questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. NTAC says, "Hey OPP, just had a tinfoil hat theory. Perfect." So thought I would share. You know how when we learned the daimyo family names from Aunt Clay, I love that that's the name, in chapter 965, all of the names were related to the moon except for one. That exception was Kurozumi, which is black ink in Japanese. Black ink equals black beard equals Marshall T. Teach. Maybe that's an offshoot relative of the Kurozumi family, which split away in the Void Century. In addition, maybe all the current D people are distantly related to the daimyo families. Always listening to the podcast weekly. Thank you for the content. What do you guys think?
Again, I don't see them as blood related somehow.
It's kind of a. I like the creativity.
Yeah, I like the idea of D and the daimyos being related, not because of the letter in daimyo, but
because of the moon, we know.
Okay, fine. I'll go to the next question. Thank you, Ed, for your sarcasm. Prince of Assassins has the last Reddit question here. Whale, whale, whale. What do we see here? This chapter should blow whole groups of fans away. Regarding the whales part, I'd like to mention when the Straw Hats emerged into the New World, plenty of whales emerged at the same time as them. I did mean to mention this. I forgot about it.
That was very cool looking.
Yeah, and also related, maybe. Since this was shortly after the end of Fishman Island, might the meeting between kings have been Luffy and Shirahoshi? If you already discussed this... Oh, there's another question, but yeah, let's answer that first. I mean, I do like the idea of the whales being specifically happy that it's Luffy. Because remember, they were all like smiling for some reason, and like specifically, I mean, we think, oh, it's One Piece, they're in the New World, they're here for, but maybe it was a specific reason.
Well, I mean, like, it's One Piece. Do the whales need a reason to smile?
I don't know. It's related to this current chapter where they were singing happily about something. Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Whales are smart, despite what Kelly thinks about Laboon.
I can still acknowledge that whales are smart and still not like Laboon.
Yeah, I know. Smart people could be evil too, but that has nothing to do with Laboon. Leave him alone.
I mean, that's an interesting idea, though, that like, oh, okay, so this thing has happened now and we're happy because the gears are set in motion.
Yeah. I like that theory a lot. Yeah. Like the specifics, I don't know, but yeah, I like that theory. I also love all the whale puns. He also had a question. If you already discussed this, I'd like to ask Zach, if all the Straw Hats were lawyers, what kind of lawyers would they be? That's an awful question.
Yeah.
No, Luffy would never be a lawyer ever.
Luffy would never pass the bar.
Well, that's one of the problems. He would never pass the MPRE, the ethics exam, because he'd just be like, I want to do what I want to do. I think the better question is, who on the Straw Hats could be a lawyer or would be a lawyer? And Robin, maybe? Like a constitutional law.
Usopp would be awesome, great. Like Lionel Hutz defense attorney.
Absolutely. Usopp would definitely be a trial lawyer. Like
Nami could be a lawyer.
Nami would also be a great lawyer, but like an ambulance chaser.
Zoro would never be a lawyer.
Well, Zoro wouldn't be able to get to the court on time because he'd get lost and he'd probably get disbarred pretty quick because he'd cut up the judge.
Really be a wealthy lawyer, because I think he would only take like female clientele.
Sanji?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he'd be dressed for the part.
True.
He'd be a divorce lawyer and take advantage of the. Oh my god, he totally would.
Hey, wow, now that you're free.
He'd be a good divorce lawyer for that reason. Like he'd get it done quick. Jinbei would be a judge. He'd be like an Ace Attorney judge, I could see. Who else? Who are we missing? Brooke is also
Frankie?
dressed for like a. Brooke would be a barrister.
Chopper?
A British judge.
Chopper.
I don't know if Chopper would be. Ed, do you think?
In I don't know, medical malpractice.
No, I don't think. I think you either become a doctor or a lawyer, and I think he's a doctor. He doesn't need to be a lawyer.
Frankie would be a workers.
Compensation.
Workers comp. This lawyer.
That's right.
I feel like
All
he'd
those
be,
mesothelioma commercials would be Frankie.
I feel like he'd be the defendant in that.
It's like, have you been injured building a ship or being run over by a train?
Those were both me. Yeah, he'd definitely be the defendant, like in a what do you call it? In a mass lawsuit. Losing my brain today. Okay. Ed, it's time too.
Peace the tweet.
Wow, he literally broke
Yeah.
literally broke his microphone on that one. That was great.
I know, I'm back.
You're back. That's what's important. That's wow. Is that the first time that's happened? Ed,
No, I
what do
actually
we
hit
have?
the mute button.
yeah,
when I was doing-
why would you hit the mute button in the Okay, I'm not.
I was getting.
I'm
I
gonna
was
give
getting
my
into-
voice a break. I've been talking for like an hour straight. Please go.
My God.
All right. Joshua Pong asks, "What company do I need to tell that I want English versions of the Viva cards? I want to buy them in Japanese, but they would be more useful to me in English." Viz probably.
Is.
Yeah. Okay. Usopp the Great has a question. That's
That's me.
Wow,
All right, I
taking
think,
advantage.
Is it something I asked before or what?
no. This is from like 20. It's from like yesterday. I think Toei needs to commission new music when the melody they use in Ashura's big
This is
speech.
for the anime part, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we
don't
do
think
them
we're
all
gonna-
here.
Yeah. We're not gonna have an anime recap this week. I don't think so.
Oh,
Okay.
Sam couldn't. Okay, well, I'm just finding this out.
I
now.
don't know if anyone else has watched it because I didn't get a chance to.
Oh, I got to watch it. It was interesting.
Good episode. Yeah, I need to. I need to.
Was very disappointed by the lack of new eye catches. I thought this was a good moment for it, and it didn't.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
getting
it is a
impatient.
good moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and the music they played when Asha was giving his speech is my point was they keep using the same music that evokes certain memories, and these are all completely different scenes that don't evoke the same thing, and they keep
Yeah.
kind of reusing these old classic things rather than let's just get some new stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll see when
Yeah.
you watch it.
No, I agree. I know exactly what you're talking about though, and they do that sometimes, and I'm like, yeah. Well, now I'm thinking of Chopper's flashback. Yeah. Go ahead.
Peter Jensfeld says, "Maybe I misunderstood, but are the Sea Kings talking about Shirahoshi or Luffy? The timeline is confusing. So it sounds like they're talking about both of them."
The timeline's confusing, eh? No, I'm done with that. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. King Luffy 1 says, "Lady Toki used to be an explorer like Odin until she took an arrow to the thigh."
Oh, I
Anyone
forgot
play
to make
Sky-
the joke. I forgot to make the joke. What stand did Toki get?
Oh man.
And you know the answer to this. There is an answer. It's the world. Definitely. Time controlling.
Yeah.
Anyway. Or the what's the one in part 5 that the main bad guy has?
Diavalos.
Diavalos, yeah, it's
I think that one would be more appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think that's probably more correct.
King
King
Crimson.
Crimson.
King Crimson.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. The stands
I
in
love
part
that. That's a
5
good
made
difference.
less sense than usual.
Oh, they
Oh,
made
yeah.
no sense.
yeah.
But that was like part of the appeal of them. JoJo makes no sense. It's fine.
Well, all right. And just because he was making a Skyrim joke just there. That's the arrow to the thigh.
Yeah,
Anyway.
sorry to
Oh.
Odin having a Nervous Sprout says Odin having a lot of Simba energy in that last sequence.
Simba. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. He included a GIF there.
is it the one of Simba kind of just launching at the screen, going rah? You know, that like that really lame when they or just Scar. Oh, I think Scar just does that in the movie when he jumps towards the camera. He's like, yeah. It's
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Next one comes from Sniper of My Heart, who says, I wonder if Odin has a Bilbo and Gollum moment and doesn't kill Orochi because he pities him. Maybe Orochi will betray Kaido because he wants to rule himself. P.S. Momo is given the title of Joy Boy after this arc, maybe? Question mark?
Ooh, I don't know.
No. Why would they have to open Wano's border to allow Joy Boy to come in if it's Momonosuke?
Well, yeah.
And
it's
like, I'm
probably
assuming that isn't even going to pay off at the end of Wano. Though it might, since it's kind of set up here, but I highly doubt that. I think this is a big series kind of thing. So,
all right. Dark Leviathan has a question also, something that we didn't really explain. So Shirahoshi was prophesied to be born in 10 years, and then he was asking about what's the 15 years. Well, 15 years. It takes 15 years for them to grow up. There isn't another person. It's 15 years. Like
Right.
Shirahoshi's 15 years old, and now is yeah. So it just means that shit's going down in this timeline this year.
yeah, things are happening now or around now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. Next one comes from Baby Blue 272, who says, "I adore your podcast. You make my commute much better." Now to the question. What do you guys think was the question Shanks asked Roger? Could it be Shanks was hoping they would find a cure for his captain's illness? I still think it's something about the hat, because the hat is related to the One Piece, and Roger gave Shanks the hat.
Someone mentioned, and I like this, that Shanks tells Rayleigh that he heard this kid in East Blue say the exact thing that Roger said to him. And I don't know what that is, obviously, but someone did mention this, and it would be cool if that was the thing that Roger said it in that moment. It might have to do with the hat, but that would be kind of weird. It could be I'm going to be king of the pirates, but
It could be I like drinking juice. It is delicious.
Crystalyn. Sorry. Go ahead.
It seems weird that if he asked anything about what the One Piece was, because he seemed pretty dead set on going there himself someday.
Mhm.
Like, if we want to go, we'll go himself. So it seemed weird that he kind of would ask about what was there.
Yeah. I don't think he would, because it's also, it's the same thing, the Luffy thing. Like, if I want to find out on my own, what's the fun of an adventure that I know the answer to already? So, Ed.
All right, next one comes from Gaurav Joshi, who writes in just to say that Odin has 6 toes on one of his feet in one of the panels. That he includes a screenshot. So,
oh my God, it's the statue from Lost. Oh wait, that was 4 toes. Still, whatever.
Yeah. 91 Ryan says, you can do a lot of things to Odin, but once you threaten or harm his family, he will wreck your shit. That's accurate. Yeah. Keith Hibb says, since Toki just had a flesh wound in the flashback, I think it's more than likely she could still be alive. Well, I think there is another tragedy coming.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't the tragedy.
Yeah. There's, yeah.
Oh, that's it. We're done with the flashback.
It can always get worse.
Odin kills Orochi, and that's it. Go ahead.
Ow, I have an arrow in my thigh. Better send my kids into the future.
And, yeah.
Sorry, that was funny.
But, that looks like it's it for the piece to tweet this week.
Okay, thank you guys. Let's round off.
All right.
One Piece Podcast, episode 604 for January 19th, 2020. Thank you all for coming on the show this week. Please remember to check us out at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast if you have not. We have been posting the entire One Piece Podcast Goes to Dallas series. I just posted the episode where we get to voice some Satan worshippers in the dub. For those who remember
I'm really happy you're putting those on Patreon because we need to offer them more.
Yes, we need to offer
content.
Them more. Yeah, that's what I was saying. So you can check that out, patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. We also have the full-length One Piece Podcast Goes to Japan movie. We are working hard to get you One Piece, the yet-to-be-titled OPP 10 Japan trip that we were talking about where we saw Crystalyn this past year. And there's just there's a ton there. Check it out. Or you could also appear on the podcast like Ray here did. And Ray, where can people find you?
You can find me at Twitter on usop.com. I also have a photo blog that I'm doing on Twitter and Tumblr called Parents at Cons, which is where I go around to different conventions and take pictures of families and kids and do a little write-up of them. And that's kind of my little fun thing since I've been going to cons for years. And now I'm kind of doing it as, instead of as a family bringing my daughter along, I'm kind of the guy taking pictures of the families. So it's a few funny, cute little Tumblr and Twitter log. So I'm punching that.
Cool. Usopp the Great on Twitter, right?
Usopp the Great and Parents at Cons, the at being AT.
Yes. So check that out. Thank you so much for supporting us. It was really cool to have you on.
I love supporting guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's good to hear. We also had Crystalyn. How could people find you?
Sure. You can find me on Twitter at Crystalyn H. That's with C and Y's. Crystalyn H. You can find my work at animenewsnetwork.com. I've done some write-ups of some cool One Piece stuff in the past, including the Kyoto collaboration and the Universal Studios Japan stuff. So you can go take a look at it.
How did you like USJ?
I've been to the One Piece premiere summer show basically every year since 2014, and it's only gotten better every year.
Good.
That
Agreed.
show is just so good.
Of course, Kelly here. Good transition too. Also gets to go every year. Where can people find you, Kelly?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Karuri.
Thank you. And Kelly is always in Japan, so
Yes.
you can check out her adventures because they're almost always One Piece related. I feel like
Mostly, or if you just want to tell me how wrong I am for not liking Laboon.
Wait, so I forgot, Kelly. We haven't had you on since our opening rankings where we disagreed with some of your. So can you explain your intense hatred for Over the Top?
Oh God.
In 10 words or less.
I don't think I have enough hours in the day.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just say this as a summary. Like when I listen to I have all the soundtracks for One Piece. I listen to them regularly. I commute a lot, so those things come on, and it's just, I didn't like it. It just didn't resonate with me. It always was one I skipped.
Okay, you're allowed to not like what you don't like. Did you like Wake Up though? As long as you didn't like Wake Up, I'm fine. I forget.
I did not like Wake Up.
Great, perfect. We're set. You could hate Laboon all you want.
But I kind of liked Hard Knock Days, and I know people hate that one. So just list me as an anomaly, and I think that's probably the best.
Hard Knock Days is nowhere near the worst.
No, it's just not good.
But people hate it though.
I don't like it. I don't know if that counts. Wait, Kelly, I have your list. Bon Voyage was your top one, yeah.
Yes.
Bon Voyage, I think, has been gaining new. Yeah, it's been gaining new esteem, I think, in the One Piece community. So people are catching up to your way of thinking, I think is a good way to put that. Steve, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Steve Yurko is my name and the username. Listen to me on other podcasts. Listen to me on The Deep End, the podcast I do covering Adult Swim shows and other adult cartoons with Matt J. Stay tuned for the latest Toon Suite I did with Doctor, covering our picks for guilty pleasures of wrestling entrance themes. Other than that, I don't know. Duncanville's coming out on Fox soon. And I storyboarded on that. That'll be on Fox. That'll be on like TV. So if you have TV, you could watch it on Fox. You probably have Fox if you have basic cable. So
you could stop saying the word Fox.
Fox E.
What comes around?
Sovereign Foxy.
Damn it, Sovereign Foxy. Actually, I like that.
Sovereign Foxy, the Silver Foxy. Network.
I'm writing that down. Ed, where could the good people out there contact us?
Well, _Zach_Logan on Twitter. I'm Edward E. One Piece. I'm also at Weeb Trailers. Podcast can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. Subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Spotify, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number, Zach.
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions, comments, theories, or reasons why Foxy is your sovereign. Jesus. All right, let's do a little trivia for those who are willing, which I guess has to be all of you. We'll do it quick. We're going to do some Vivre card trivia. We have not done that in a while. For those who don't know, first one who gets to 3 points wins. You guys all on board?
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Sure.
So all you have to do is you pick a number from 1 to, where the hell does this end? We're up to 1114, I think was the. Oh no, 1147. And I'll ask you a question. Or I'm sorry, I will describe the person using some facts that I am able to read, since I don't speak Japanese, and you have to guess who it is. So, Kelly, pick a number from 1 to whatever I just said, 1144, I think.
376.
376. Let's see who I got here. 379. I think, is that going to be the close? Oh, 76. Perfect. Number 376 is born on July 8th. He is 26 years old, 195 centimeters. His blood type is S. And on the back, is there anything useful? There is a picture of him as a kid with his goggles off.
Hmm.
He's very excited at the opening of something. I'll leave it there.
He's very excited at the opening of something.
About the opening of something. The opening day of something. I'm going to give you 3 seconds here, Kelly.
Oh, brother. I have no idea.
Ray, chance to steal.
No, Kobe wouldn't have. No, I can't. That'd be too early.
Ed?
Zambai?
Nope. Crystal?
I got nothing. Mine was thinking Kobe too, but yeah.
Steve?
What was the number?
376.
I'm gonna take a shot and say Paulie.
Correct.
Oh.
That was misleading though with the goggles though.
Why?
No, Polly has orange goggles, yeah.
No, but are you saying like is the picture of him as a child? Does he have the goggles on his forehead?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. That he always has them on his
Paulie
forehead.
Paulie barely wears them over his eyes.
Right. I should have said with goggles on his forehead. But you got it, Steve. That's what's important. Ray, pick a number.
518.
518. Let's see who we got. You're in a good section here. Okay, number 518.
Oh,
Here you go, Ray.
I like the sound of that laugh. Go ahead.
There will be, my big hint is there will be one fan in particular who will be very angry if you do not get this. His birthday is October 6th. His age is 26. His height is 191 centimeters. His blood type is F. There are drawings of him. Okay, there's drawings of his coat on the back, which has someone's name on it. And also 2 sketches of one of him as a kid and one of him as a woman. Like if he were a woman.
Right, but not.
Yeah.
So the coat's got someone's name on it?
The coat has someone's name on its back. It's really hard to be vague with this character. That's my other hint. And that there is one fan that we have in particular who has been on the show before who will be very angry if you do not get this.
I got nothing.
Ed.
Is it Capone?
Nope.
Nope.
Crystalyn.
Law?
Yep.
Oh,
Good job. Good steal. Ed, pick a number.
442.
442. I'm gonna give you 445 because I don't have a 442 for whatever reason. 445 is born on May 2nd. He is 78 years old. He is 287 centimeters. His blood type is F. On the back is a picture of him as a kid riding a tiger. And he also has a treasure chest and a pipe, as one does.
Okay. Interesting.
The tiger's got a pipe?
Legit question. No, the kid is riding on the tiger, and in one hand he is holding a treasure chest, in the other he is holding a pipe. I'll give you one more hint. He is wearing what I would say is a somewhat trademark Hawaiian shirt. Trademark. Okay. Sometimes he wears this. He has worn these kind of shirts before, but not commonly, not usually, but he definitely does.
Is it Monkey D. Garp?
It is Monkey D. Garp.
Damn it. That one was so
Hawaiian
easy.
shirt. Yeah.
Crystalyn.
All right, let's number 722.
22. I think that's in my other book. Where does this one start? Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna give you 723.
Okay.
This person is 9'9", not 9'9". Born on September 9th. 29 years old, 520 centimeters, so more than that. Blood type XF. She appeared in this week's chapter.
Oh.
Wow.
Is it Okiku?
No. Steve.
Can you run down the facts for me again?
Yeah, born September 9th. She is 29 years old. She is 520 centimeters compared to Luffy's, I should have added that too, 174 centimeters. Blood type XF. And she appeared in this chapter. Number 723.
Oh, wow.
I'll give you 3 seconds.
Wait, what was the height again?
520 centimeters. So she's like...
It's like 2.5 Luffy's?
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
She's big. She's big. She's big.
Oh, wow. Okay. Chiffon.
No. Kelly.
I'm trying to think what ladies appeared in this chapter because there weren't that many. Charlie?
Correct.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I realized
Yeah.
it was Charlie right after I said it. It's like,
That was who guessed that?
She wasn't
Who
that
asked for
tall in
some?
this
That was
chapter.
Crystalyn, right? She was not. Steve, I think it's your turn, right?
I wish I knew the metric system better.
Don't we all? Pick a number.
Let's say, let's go with something like 592.
592. I forgot we got so many new ones since we last
Well,
played
also, I
this
knew it
game.
couldn't be a Wano character because there's no Wano cards. So.
Yeah.
That's not true. There's 2 of them.
Oh, yep,
Uh,
that's right.
Not all of us have them, Ed.
Oh, no, they're in the index set that came out a couple weeks ago.
That's true.
Oh, are they included? I should
Yeah,
look.
they're included, and so is Flashback, Sabo, and Flashback, Luffy and Ace.
and Ace.
Oh,
Luffy,
sweet.
Yeah, Kid Luffy.
We already have
That's
flashback Sabo. Okay, next one. This one's 591, which is close. He is a 44-year-old born on June 11th. He's 340 centimeters, so that's around double Luffy's height. Blood type X. On the back, you see him with his sword, and also him using his sword, and also him polishing his sword, and also him sheathing his sword, and I'll stop there. It's a hard one. This one's a hard one, in my opinion.
I'm guessing it's. I think I know like where their allegiance is, and this applies to so many people. Sword.
Can I give you 3 seconds?
Wait. What's the height? One more time.
340 centimeters. So he's around double. A little less than double Luffy.
He's all right. I'm gonna take a shot. I'm gonna say it's Bastille.
Nope. Kelly.
Ugh. I have no idea.
This is a hard one. Ray.
Yeah.
It's not that what's his name? I want to say Shiryu of the Dark, but
yeah, no, you're right. Shiryu of the Rain. I'll take
Rain.
it.
That's it.
Good job, Ray. That was not easy.
Nobody has more than 1 point yet.
Everyone has 1 point. Every single person has a point. I've actually never seen such a close game. Kelly, pick a number.
309.
309. This is actually maybe our longest game just because everyone is doing really well. Or like even. Everyone's doing like the same. Okay. 309. I'm going to give you all right, I'll give you 338. There's a big gap. He was I get it. Oh, he shares his card with his trusty steed. He was born on October 2nd. His steed was born on October 31st. He is 63 years old, 118 centimeters, so he is shorter than Luffy. Blood type F. And there's some interesting designs of him and different versions of his steed on the back. So he's 118 centimeters compared to Luffy's 174 centimeters. So pretty short, especially for the One Piece world. Also, as a hint, I'm pretty sure I've asked about this character in a previous one of these, but it has been a really long time.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Ray.
The only person I can think of is that sickly guy on Teach's. But who I've never seen stand up, so I never know how tall he is.
I'll give you a hint. Give you a hint. It's not that guy.
Okay.
Yeah, that dude's like in his 30s.
I'm sure he's extremely tall.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy is 63, although he does not. We'll get to that. Ed.
Is it Gunfor?
Nope. I didn't realize how many people had steeds. Crystalyn.
Yeah, I was only thinking about the Blackbeard doctor, so nope, I don't know.
And Steve, you're the last chance here.
Okay. I need all the facts again. What's his number?
Okay. Number 338, his steed is 337. They share the same card. He is 63, 118 centimeters. His birthday doesn't matter. Blood type F. And on the back are different designs. Some really wacky designs of him and his steed.
Oh, God damn it.
Is he shorter than Luffy?
Very much. Oh, thank you for repeating that. Yeah, 118 centimeters compared to 174.
And now I know it, and now I've already...
Much shorter than Luffy?
Significantly shorter.
Is it Tonjit?
Yeah,
it is.
Tonjit.
And what was it? What was his, it was Sherry, or what was the name of the horse again?
Yeah,
Sherry or Shelly.
Yeah, something like that. All right, Steve is winning 2-1. Ray, pick a number. We're almost there. Steve gets 1 more point.
402.
2. 401, 401 we're going to do. Everyone's favorite. Okay. This guy is...
It's Oopsop's birthday.
This guy, oh yeah, that's my birthday too. This guy's January 26th is his birthday. He is 22 years old, 202 centimeters, blood type X. We're all fans of making fun of this guy. And not only are we, but the Fever card is too, because on the back is a picture of him with all his hair blown off after he was defeated. Trying to even think if there's like any other hints here that I could give.
That's too late in the game.
Okay, I'll give one other hint. There's also a picture of him during one of his fights holding two pistols behind his back.
I think it's too high a number for Helmeppo, but
no, but that's a good guess. Ed?
Is it Nero?
It is.
Yeah, Nero.
Ed, you want to pick the next number? The Sea Weasel. Ed, pick a number.
He gets a little buy from the help from his friends that just happen to be laser pistols.
Oh my God, Ed! That was a fake 4Kids thing, for the record. It was not real. Ed.
I'll go with 366.
Guys are going such low numbers. That's fine.
We're in the sweet spot.
Yeah, okay. 366. Okay, I'm gonna give you 365. Because there is no 366. March 8th is his birthday. 35 years old, 227 centimeters, blood type S. Should probably include his weight. That would probably be a good hint. But they don't. He's a little taller than Luffy, and on the back, there is a picture of him sneaking up on Usopp with his tongue out. I don't know why that is the case. Also a picture of him crying. Not just one, two different panels of him crying with his teeth out. Different teeth in both of that, which doesn't really make sense if you think about it. Also, there's different teeth are out. That's probably a mistake on Oda's part from one of them, but it's funny to me. Or maybe just two different scenes where his teeth got knocked out.
Is there anything else you can give me?
The last thing is, there is a picture of him in the cover story from the years later, after 2 years later. He is drawing on a schematic, and it says in English here, 2 ships and cola.
Is it Zambai?
It is. Was that too easy?
Well, no, that's.
Ed is our winner then.
I had guessed him, and I was wrong earlier.
I know. That's why I was laughing thinking about it. All right, Ed is our winner then. That's it. Once again, sorry everyone. Thank you whoever clapped. We're gonna be back next week. I forgot we were recording. For an episode of the One Piece podcast. We're going to be going through chapter 969. And we'll see you then, everyone. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
Goodbye, everyone.
Support them on Patreon.
Oh,
Thank you.
This episode of the One Piece podcast is brought to you by Shonen Jump. You could read the latest chapters of One Piece free online or on the Shonen Jump app. Looking to get your friends into One Piece? Tell them about Shonen Jump and get them to share this amazing adventure with you. Visit viz.com/One Piece podcast to get started.